No stories today, no subplots, nothing like that. I'm going to get right to it. I'm going to talk about The Cure, the top. This was, I knew I was going to do this at some point. I got this last week by mistake. It was supposed to be another album. Amazon sent it by mistake. And I thought I would get to it at some point. I'll get to it a little bit sooner, which is today, than I kind of expected I would, because some of you were leaving comments saying, yeah, you should talk about it. Some of you like The Cure or love The Cure. So you kind of spurred me on to talk about The Cure at the top. But before I get to The Cure, now this is not a story, I'm going to do another bonus unboxing. Yes, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do it right now. I've got it right here in this big box. Should I tell you what it is first? Yeah, why not? I'll tell you what it is. I'm going to do Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil, 1983. I'm not going to talk about the album. I'm just going to open it up. I got this last week, and I wasn't planning on doing an unboxing for it or an episode of this. I want to talk about this album because I talked about it before I rebranded this as I want to talk about this album. It was called I Love This Album, and I talked about Shout at the Devil then. And I talked about it maybe a month ago when I went through Motley Crue's entire very uneven discography. I talked about it a little bit then. So I'm not going to talk about it today, but I am going to open it anyway and show it. Just a quick thing, it is one of my all-time, I hate that word all-time, it sounds very dramatic. It's one of my favorite albums. I shouldn't have to specify that's all-time or ever, but it is. Top 10 for sure, guaranteed. Maybe I'll talk about those. I've talked about all those individually, and I'm not sure even what my 10 are, but there's no doubt that Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil is in there, and I'll do it today because as you can see, I haven't opened this box yet. There are 4 other records in here, and which I will talk about the other 3, but I'm going to do Shout at the Devil. I guess maybe just because I'm doing The Cure, since I'm already talking about bands whose singers look like women, maybe I would add Motley Crue in there. So I'll open this now. I guess these are going to be individually boxed inside. I'll try not to look at them. Well, if they're boxed, who cares? Just a minute. Let me make sure I pull out the right one, and I'll make sure that these are all correct. Because The Cure was sent in place of something else. That one's good. That one's good. Here's Shout at the Devil. And yes, this one's good. Look at this. These are 4 records, 3 different styles of packaging. There's one style here, which is just like this. I haven't seen this style before. Shout at the Devil is my favorite, the frustration-free packaging. So there's 2 styles, and these 2 are the same style with the tabs. So let me put these 3 back. Make sure I got the right one here. All right, I will get to those in the coming days, weeks. I'm not sure when. So this is Shout at the Devil, and I got this album in 1983. Great packaging. Before I open this, I remember the packaging. It was a gatefold. It had the great pictures of them. I think in order it was Nikki Sixx, Vince Neil, going from well, for you, right to left, but for me, left to right. I think Nikki Sixx was first, maybe Vince Neil, Mick Mars and Tommy Lee, I can't remember. The gatefold, the inner dust sleeve, the inside dust sleeve was, I think it was white. The lyrics I think were printed in red, and maybe the other side was red with a white pentagram. I think. I'll have to see. All right, here it is. Oh, I love it. Again, yeah, it is gatefold. You can see. The hype sticker, there it is. So you feel hyped. Remember, this is not the unboxing. I'm going to get to The Cure. This says Crucial Crew, first ever vinyl pressing of 40th anniversary remaster. Features Looks That Kill, Too Young to Fall in Love, Shout at the Devil, and there's the back. I remember that. Oh my God, this was in terms of, maybe I'll talk about it a little bit, not the music, but in terms of the packaging, this was maybe one of the first ones, maybe other than Kiss, where I was just looking at, maybe Iron Maiden too. I had Number of the Beast, although that was more the imagery rather than the actual band. Looking at these guys, and in the gatefold, which I'm going to get to in a minute, I just stared at it, just like I did with Kiss records a few years before. So I'm gonna open it up now. Here comes the slice. This is an easy one to open because it's got a nice gap in the gatefold. I can just do it like that. And I remember I don't know if you can see it, maybe you know, you probably know already, the pentagram on this album, on the original album, and I'll see if this one is too. It was kind of it wasn't embossed, but it did have a different feel or a different texture than the rest of the album. It was kind of slick and glossy. The rest of the album was matte. Let me see. This is this is interesting. I'm not sure if this is intentional or not. It looks scuffed up. I don't know if the camera can see, but there are some. I guess it is intentional, and up here too. It looks like it's aged. I assumed that it was intentional, that it was artificially aged. Yeah. All right. Yeah, and some scuff down there. Did I get a faulty and around here and everywhere? Did I get a faulty copy? I guess it was meant to be like this. And no, the pentagram is not a different texture. It's just there. Here comes the gatefold. I think it's going to be Nicky, Vince, Mick, Tommy. Nicky, Vince? Oh yeah, I got it right after all these years. Haven't seen this record in 20 years or so. What a thing it was to look at this when you were listening to it. At that time, there was no band cooler looking than Motley Crue. Kiss was on the way out at this point. And as I also remembered, it did have the red pentagram, or the red label, or red dust jacket with white pentagram. And I also remembered the red lyrics on the white paper. And this is also kind of scuffed up a little bit. So I think I can confirm that that's intentional. I don't remember the original one being like that. Anyway, that's all I'm going to do. If you want to know my deeper thoughts on Shout the Devil, you can go back to a month or so ago and see what I talked about Motley Crue's whole catalog, or go back 2 or 3 years, 2 years anyway, when I did this more in-depth track by track. So next I'm going to do The Cure. This is the main attraction, although maybe for some of you it was Motley Crue and you're turning off now. But The Cure, now, my history with The Cure is zero, nothing. But for a band that I have no relationship with, no attachment, no bond, I actually, believe it or not, have a lot to talk about with The Cure. Dallas, my friend Dallas, I hope he's watching or listening. He knows what I'm talking about. The Cure were one of these bands that when I was in high school, in 84, 85, around there, that I hated. Couldn't stand them. I was a real metal kid, and I guess still am, although I'm much more broad-minded now. But to me, anything that looked like The Cure, or sounded like The Cure, or Duran Duran, or even U2, or who else would I put in that group? Like Thompson Twins, Aha, Flock of Seagulls. To me, that was all crap. Just garbage. Couldn't stand it. And the people who listened to it, those were kind of two groups. I don't know about anybody else in high school. If you're around my age, it probably was the same. Your groups were really based on music, I guess. You had the metalheads like me. There were punks. We called these people that listened to the Cure and things like that. Not goth, but I guess preppy. I don't know if I knew goth back then, but I really, really just hated The Cure. just that whole sound, and I'll talk about that maybe a little bit as I talk about the record. Oh, just the worst music. It just, to me, sounded so fake. So the drums didn't sound real. The vocals sounded very, very processed, and just the whole thing to me was very... I was listening to Motley Crue talking about how bands look. You know, Robert Smith was no good, but Vince Neil was okay. Maybe because Vince Neil and Nikki Sixx and Mick Mars and Tommy looked tough. And at least at this point, not so much on Theater of Pain, the next album, but Robert Smith and Duran Duran and those guys looked feminine. I don't care about that now, but back then I sure did. So many years passed. I couldn't have cared less about The Cure. And I think as far as I know, up until the time I listened to this record, and I've listened to it 3 times since I got it last week. I listened to it a couple days after I got it, listened to it, not the record, but digitally. I downloaded it. I listened to it here in my house on the stereo, and then I took it for a walk on, I think the next day, and listened to it on my walk, and then took it out for a walk again this morning and listened to it. When I listened to it at home in my house last week, I took some notes, which is what I'm going to go by now. Down here, this was something else. But the reason I have a lot to say about The Cure is they played a concert here in Mexico City in 2013. The 10-year anniversary of it just passed a few weeks or a month ago. I guess it was in April 2013. And I only heard about this years later. And it was, for one, it was Robert Smith's birthday. I guess that was a factor in what happened and what I'm going to talk about. It was Robert Smith's birthday. There was an earthquake, I think minutes, I don't know if it was minutes or seconds or an hour, but shortly before the show started. It was in a big stadium, like 50,000 people. There was a fairly sizable earthquake. And then the amazing thing was The Cure played... How many songs does your favorite band play? Iron Maiden. I love Iron Maiden. They played 15 songs on the last couple of tours. Metallica plays 16 songs. Well, The Cure, so a band that plays a long time would play, what, 25? The Cure, this night in Mexico City in 2013, they didn't play 30, they didn't play 40, they played 50, exactly 50 songs, like 4.5 hours, something like that. I guess kind of a celebration of Robert Smith's birthday, plus I guess everything just came together and they just kept playing and playing and playing. That made me a big Cure fan, and made me want to see them live. And I told a friend about this years ago, and he said, so you don't like them? And they play for 4.5 hours, 50 songs, and you want to see them? That seems backwards. You would think, if you don't really like a band, first of all, you wouldn't want to go at all, and you definitely wouldn't want to hear 50 songs. But I just like that. I really appreciate and respect the effort. It means they're well prepared. They're rehearsed. They're not just going through the motions. That's the main thing. And everybody raves about how great The Cure is even after all these years. And also they're at the point now, like some of these other bands I've talked about recently. Madonna. I bought Madonna tickets about a month ago. I'm going to see Madonna. And I saw Billy Joel and Rod Stewart and who else? I had tickets for Ringo Starr last year. It was canceled because of COVID. But some of these acts are getting to the point now where you say, hey, they've been around a long time. I want to go see what it's all about. So I thought, when The Cure comes to Mexico, I really want to see them. This was a couple of months ago. And then, just by coincidence, The Cure had just announced a tour of North America, which they're currently in now. My friend Dallas flew to Vancouver to see them a couple of nights ago. I think they're playing in, Salt Lake City and LA and all over, what cities are in the United States. And so when they announced this a couple of months ago, there was supposed to be a Mexico show tacked onto that. And then it became rumors of, not rumors, Robert Smith said we're going to be playing Mexico. This is going to be announced after the North American tour. Mexico, Uruguay, I think Paraguay, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, maybe Peru. And so I thought, oh man, I really want to see that. I know they're not going to play 50 songs, but I want to go see it. So there's a Cure Mexico Facebook page, and I was following that, and there were rumors that it was going to be in late November or early December. And I told Dallas about that. Dallas is going to be here somewhere around that time. He was kind of waiting for an announcement to find out when he was going to book his. He was kind of going to book his trip to make sure he was there around that time when the Cure was coming. And so I was always checking this Cure at Mexico Facebook page. And then the rumors were at some point, and usually these rumors turn out to be true. They sure didn't this time. The rumor was, this was maybe a month ago, and Robert Smith said it's going to be announced by the end of April, and it wasn't announced. And then he said, maybe around early May, he said, we're going to make an announcement soon. Still no announcement through May. And the rumor was that the promoter wanted the Cure to play in Mexico, in Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey. But they, or him, Robert Smith, or his management, or his people said, no, we want to do 2 nights in Mexico City instead, and that's going to be our Mexico show or shows. And another thing I like about them is Robert Smith seems like a good guy. I hated this guy when I was a stupid teenager, but I like that he's very honest. He doesn't release things through, these big things. He tweets about them saying, hey, we're playing Mexico, we're playing Uruguay, Paraguay, Brazil, Chile, Argentina. It's just taking longer than I thought to iron out some things. Most bands don't do that. Everything is secret. Their management controls everything. I really like how Robert Smith did this. And so I was very, very excited, and also thinking I would go to this show with Dallas and we would have a good time. And then yesterday, which is kind of what made me talk about this album today as well, they made the big announcement. Yes, the Cure is playing in Mexico. It's official. Mexico City. It's official. It's on November 19th. But it's at a festival, and I'm not going. I hate festivals. There's a big festival every year in November called Corona Capital. Corona, the beer sponsor, Corona Capital. Corona Capital, and it's 3 days. It's always Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's kind of alternative. And they have, like most festivals, they have 1 or 2 or 3 big names each night of the headliners, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then a bunch of bands that you either haven't heard of, or you go, wow, that band is still around. Some of the other names I saw, I know Alanis is one of the headliners on Friday. The Cure is playing Sunday, headlining. Who else is there? I saw Sleater-Kinney. I saw them live a bunch of times a long time ago. Noel Gallagher and his Flying Birds, I think, are also playing this Sunday. I can't remember who else. But first of all, I hate festivals. Hate them. They're too expensive. They're long. They start at 10, 11 in the morning and finish at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It's either too hot, too cold, it's raining, you're in the sun all day. In addition to the food the tickets being expensive, food and drinks are expensive, and you're stuck there all day, assuming that you like enough bands to justify going for the full day. You're going to spend a fortune on food and drinks. Let's not even talk about the bathroom situation when you have 40, 50, 60,000 people there. Forget about the bathroom situation. Probably the sound is often not good. Bands maybe don't play full sets. Maybe there's a band lower down the bill. Maybe they only play 20 or 30 minutes. So there was a festival 6 months ago here in Mexico, in Toluca. Pantera, that was the first Pantera show in almost 20 years. Kiss, Scorpions, Judas Priest, Merciful Fate, I think Dokken, Corrosive Conformity, Venom, all these bands that I love. And I didn't go to that. So if I didn't go to that, there's no way I'm going to go see The Cure. Alanis, I guess. Alanis Morissette would be okay. But, so that really, really bothers me. I was very, very excited to see The Cure. And it really bothers me when bands, Red Hot Chili Peppers, same thing. They played, there's another festival in March every year called Vive Latino. And last year, I thought, I haven't seen Red Hot Chili Peppers in a long time. I want to go see them next time they come here. And then it was announced that they were headlining at Vive Latino. So I thought, well, I'm not going to see them. I missed Kiss, like I said, Pantera. I've missed Scorpions before. I've missed Ozzy before because they've all played. I think the last 4 times Kiss played here was all at festivals. And I know a lot of people really love festivals. I hate them. I can't imagine ever going to a festival ever again. In addition to the cost of the tickets being stupidly expensive, and just logistically, it's a pain in the ass. So there goes my chance to see The Cure, which also kind of I was excited when I got, and here it is. Here's the top. I opened it last week because it was supposed to be another record, so I'll re-unbox it. There's two prefixes. I'll re-unbox it. So this kind of, I was excited to kind of get into The Cure, which was funny. Out of all the records that Amazon could have sent me by mistake, I talked about this with Dallas. It's funny that they sent The Cure. It almost seems like that was a sign if you believe in that kind of stuff, which I don't. But I was excited to kind of get into The Cure and learn about them and go to see them. But now that I know I'm not going to see them, my interest in The Cure really, really dwindled. Anyway, so I will talk about this, The Cure. There it is. It's still got the shrink wrap on it. There's no hype sticker on here. Nothing. There it is. And I did a little looking into this on their current tour. They do mix it up from night to night. They have, I guess, a core. They do 29 songs on the current tour. They have a core that they always do the same, and then they swap a bunch in and out. They've, I think, consistently done one song from this, Shake Dog Shake, which is the first one. I think they've dropped it maybe a few times, but no more than that. So I don't know what, you'll have to tell me, for you Cure fans. A couple of you have mentioned that you really like this album. I think Miguel, who gave me those albums a couple of weeks ago, he said he thinks this is a very underrated Cure album. I don't know where this ranks in the Cure catalog. I don't know. I know Disintegration is a Cure album. Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Pornography. And really, I think the only Cure song that I knew before I listened to this was Just Like Heaven, because Goldfinger, who is maybe my favorite band through the 90s, they covered it on their covers EP called Darren's Coconut Ass. And I loved it, and that got me into Just Like Heaven. So I'll open this up, and then I'll talk about it. I'm going to cheat. As I said, I don't really know this album, so I have to cheat a little bit and go to the notes, which I did with... I need a historian, so somebody to keep track of all this stuff. There's another record. Oh, I did it with 72 Seasons, because that was brand new. I talked about that the day it came out, and I wasn't familiar with it. The other one was Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'd gone to see Earth, Wind, and Fire in Mexico City last year, and I bought an album just to, just to kind of get into the spirit. So this is a rare one that I don't know about, so I'm going to go to the notes. So let me see the packaging here. Oh, it's very colorful, very non-goth. Look at how colorful this is, and inside it has the lyrics. Kind of hard to read, no? I don't know. Well, I guess they're going to look hard to read on the camera anyway. But all right, that's decent packaging. I've always said, give me the lyrics and maybe a picture or some kind of design or something, and I'm good. All right, let me see the record. Where does it open? Oh, it opens on the side. Usually the inside dust jacket opens on top. This one opens on the side. All right, let me see. I'm having a hard time getting it out. What's going on here? Oh, I think it's like static. Yeah, it was static electricity. There it is. So there's the record. It's one of these other side. So I guess this is side 2. This is side 1. You can tell by the grooves. I know the last song is really long. So that's side 2, because you can see that the last song is a long one. All right, let me put this back, and then I'll go through it track by track. I can put that there for now. All right, so going through this track by track, the first song I remember is Shake Dog Shake. Shake, 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 dog shake, something like that. Now this one, the very first, it starts with like a little drum beat, and then this kind of droning, I almost thought for a brief second, this is a little bit metal, a little bit heavy metal, as Kronos says. It's got this droning. I guess it's not a riff like a chord. This droning, and then Robert Smith's voice comes in. And mentally, I had it in my head. I had the Melvins in my head. I think for two reasons. One, because it had that kind of droning chord, and also just the big hair. Buzz Osborne and Robert Smith both had big hair. So this, I'm sure there's nobody else who thinks this, but it reminded me of, or it didn't remind me of it. When I was listening to it, I kept picturing the Melvins. And also the lyrics. This album comes with the lyrics. When I listened to it digitally, I was just following on my phone. I thought the lyrics were also kind of metal. So this, for me, a little bit, change here and there. I think Shake Dog Shake could be a metal song or a cover. Somebody could do a good metal cover of it. And I can see that they play it live. I can understand that. It seems like it would be I don't know where it ranks amongst fans as a favorite or what, but Shake Dog Shake, it's fine. If I had listened to this 40 years ago, I would have had a very different opinion. Or I guess it wasn't out. It came out in 1984. If I had heard this 39 years ago, I would have had a different opinion. The next song is called Bird Mad Girl. I thought this one was kind of different from Shake Dog Shake. It had a very I hated this. This is what I hated about this music. It just had that very distinct Brit-pop sound, and Robert Smith's voice had that Brit-pop voice. For me, it's the same with, and I'm not saying these bands sound the same, but the same as Coldplay, Radiohead. I know Radiohead is maybe a little bit more rock than Britpop, but I never liked that. And really, Robert Smith, is he a pretty bad singer? I thought when I was listening to this, he reminded me of Jello Biafra. I'm not saying he sounds like Jello Biafra, and I really like Dead Kennedys. I like Dead Kennedys a lot. But Jello Biafra is not a good singer. He's great in Dead Kennedys. He's got the perfect voice for Dead Kennedys. Nobody else, I think, could sing Dead Kennedy songs like Jello. But Jello Biafra, if he were in another band, no, it's just a perfect match. I think and it's not really a bad thing, but I think Robert Smith is great for The Cure. I'm not sure how Robert Smith would sound singing for another band, if I made myself clear. Next song, number 3, it's called Wailing Wall. This had kind of like I remember the intro to this song. When I listened to it, when I was listening to it in my house here taking notes, it starts with a very quiet intro, which I didn't really hear. But when I listened to it with headphones the next day, taken out for a walk, I heard it with the headphones. And it was the third song, and I had kind of forgotten that I was listening to The Cure. And I often listen to music on random. I have close to 10,000 songs on my phone, and often I'll just put it on random or shuffle, and then I'll play, whatever song comes up. And when the intro of Wailing Wall came on, I kind of forgot that I was listening to The Cure for a few seconds, and I thought it sounded like the intro of I Want a Woman by Rat from Reach for the Sky. I love Reach for the Sky, and I love I Want a Woman. But I thought it had that similar build up an intro just for a few seconds. But I thought this one, it had, once it got past the intro, it had kind of a creepy, maybe gothy vibe. I thought, I don't know The Cure at all, but I thought this would be a good opening song. I don't know if they've ever opened with it, but I thought that this would make, maybe back then they did, but I thought Wailing Wall would be a good opening song for a Cure concert. Next one, number 4, Give Me It. This one I thought was even more, maybe not quite metal, but kind of more aggressive, maybe a little bit industrial. Reminded me a little bit like I thought Jane's Addiction or Nine Inch Nails maybe could have covered this song. It was kind of, fast paced, had kind of wild drum. Was that the one that had, yeah, I think it did. It had some kind of wild, like chaotic drums. This one, another one, again, with a few tweaks. Could be like a real metal song or industrial or something in the vein of Jane's Addiction, Nine Inch Nails. I don't know if any, again, someone with Shake Dog Shake. I don't know if metal bands, as far as the only Cure song, the only Cure cover I've ever heard is the aforementioned Just Like Heaven by Goldfinger. So I think some bands could, maybe when Robert Smith dies, bands are going to start doing, some of the bands I like will maybe start doing Cure covers. Number 5 is Dressing Up. This was, to me, what I thought of when I think of the Cure. I thought of songs like this, kind of, again, more kind of Brit pop, kind of soft, quiet song. Caterpillar, would that be side 2? Yes. Oh, it's called The Caterpillar, not Caterpillar. The Caterpillar. This was also, I thought, what I would have expected from the Cure, that Britpop sound. But I thought I actually liked this one. I thought this one was catchier, a little bit happier, which is maybe strange for the Cure, because the Cure is goth, and happier, maybe catchier, poppier. Even remind me, I think towards the end I started to think this kind of sounds like Peter Gabriel, like Solar Peter Gabriel, or maybe later era Peter Gabriel era Genesis. That was what I thought. I might listen to this song again and not hear that at all, but my first impression was that it brought to mind Peter Gabriel. Next is Piggy in the Mirror. Not much to say about that. I just remember it had like kind of gothy lyrics. I guess it's about an ugly person looking in the mirror, or somebody who sees themselves as ugly, or somebody who is ugly on the inside but beautiful on the outside, or vice versa, looking at themselves in the mirror. I didn't analyze it too much, but I thought the lyrics were very goth, kind of dark. The Empty World is next. This was the one that had some marching drums and some kind of happy, I don't know if it was flute or some kind of pipes, or maybe a recorder. Remember they used to have recorders, used to play those in school. Every kid in my school had a recorder. I think it was mandatory. Maybe it's recorder. Unexpected for the Cure, because whatever it was, it's flute maybe, or recorder. It sounded very happy, very un-Cure-like. But I thought that song was okay. Next, the second to last song was Banana Fish Bones. Not much to say about that. It's just it's another Cure song. And then the last song is the title track, The Top. This was the longest one. It's around maybe close to 7 minutes, I think, 6.5, 7.5, 7 minutes. This had like kind of also a build-up intro. It took kind of a long time to get into it, which is why the song is a little bit long. And I thought it felt very kind of barren or stark or something, just very kind of bare bones, not a lot to it. Again, maybe a little bit gothy. I thought it was okay. So that's what I think about The Top. I didn't hate it like I would have some years ago. But I didn't, it was fine when I was listening to it. I was like, oh my God, I wasn't like thinking, please let this shit end. I thought it was okay, but it's not something that I'm going to revisit often. Maybe I'll listen to it from time to time, maybe a few songs here and there. Or I could end up becoming a raging Cure fan and spend all my money going to see them on this tour, flying around the world to see them. I don't think that's going to happen. But that's it. So as a bonus album, because I got this free from Amazon, they sent it in place of another one and said, just keep it. That's not bad for my first experience with The Cure.